With us now is the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries. Leader Jeffries, thank you so much for being with us. We'll get to you and your friend Mike Lawler in just a second. But first, I do want your reaction to the word that all the Israeli hostages could be home within days. Your reaction to that and what you think President Trump's role was in brokering this deal.
Well, good morning. Great to be with you. It's a very, very positive step in the right direction. We're all hopeful that this agreement will be finalized, that the hostages will be released in a matter of days and returned home to their loved ones. Of course, that we can surge humanitarian assistance into Gaza to alleviate the pain and suffering that Palestinian civilians have been experiencing in the theater of war for the last 2 years, and that we can achieve not just a ceasefire, but a pathway toward a just and lasting peace for both Israel and the Palestinian people.
So, Leader Jeffries, let me ask you about the status of the shutdown and that confrontation with New York Congressman Mike Lawler. Among the many things that were exchanged back and forth there, he was asking you about the possibility of a one-year extension on the expiring Obamacare subsidies. Specifically, what is your opposition to that?
Well, MAGA Mike Lawler is an irrelevant individual. He doesn't even have the support of the House Republican leadership, who have refused to address the issue of extending the Affordable Care Act tax credits. The Democratic position has been clear. We will sit down with anyone, anytime, any place, one, to reopen the government, negotiate a bipartisan agreement that has to actually make life better for the American people, not hurt everyday Americans. And a meaningful part of that is to address the Republican health care crisis, which includes, but is not limited to, the largest cut to Medicaid in American history, the failure of Republicans to address the Affordable Care Act tax credits that are expiring, hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health clinics closing all across America, including in rural parts of the country, because of the one big ugly bill. These are real issues affecting everyday Americans, working class Americans. And our view is that we need a meaningful response to addressing the Republican health care crisis, not simply a Band-Aid solution that Republican leadership in the House and the Senate don't even support right now.
Take Lawler out of it, Congressman Lawler out of it for a second. I don't think you guys will be having a beer anytime soon. But are you suggesting that when it comes to Obamacare subsidies, you are for permanence or broke? If they're not made permanent, you won't change your position on the shutdown?
No, what I'm suggesting is that we need to have a meaningful bipartisan discussion, that our position as articulated in the legislation that we've introduced is a permanent extension of the Affordable Care Act tax credits. But we're open to having a conversation in good faith to try to address this Republican health care crisis. It's ironic, however, that Republicans just a few months ago passed their one big ugly bill, which included permanent tax breaks for their billionaire donors, the wealthiest and the most well-off people in the United States of America. And so the question becomes, isn't it reasonable for working class Americans, for middle class Americans, for everyday Americans who are facing the possibility of dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles? We're talking about thousands of dollars per year in additional health care costs. Isn't it reasonable for them to have a similar level of certainty in their lives? And that's what Democrats are fighting hard to achieve.
One of the things that has not happened in Congress is the swearing in of Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva from Arizona. What do you think the holdup is there?
Well, it's been weeks since Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva has been decisively elected. And so it's very strange to us that House Republicans continue to delay her swearing in. It could have happened last week. It could have happened this week. It's not been scheduled for next week. And it does appear to many of us that part of the issue is that she will clearly become the 218th signature on the discharge petition that will trigger an up or down vote on the release of the Epstein files. Because we know that House Republicans and Senate Republicans and the Trump administration have been hiding the Epstein files from the American people for months now. even over the wishes of the brave survivors who want full transparency so there can be full accountability. And that's what we support.
I do want to go back to 1 second on the idea of the extension of Obamacare subsidies. You said the idea of a one-year extension is a non-starter. Punchbowl wrote up this morning in their morning note that they'd been talking to Leader Schumer over in the Senate, and he hadn't drawn similar red lines to you, saying that a one-year extension is a non-starter. And the quote from Punchbowl is, when we pointed out to Schumer that he hasn't drawn similar red lines, Schumer responded, "I don't negotiate in public." To what extent are you and Senator Schumer on the same page on this?
The interesting thing is that for weeks we've seen House and Senate Democrats on the same page, and we continue to be on the same page as it relates to defending the health care of the American people and demanding a bipartisan negotiation between House Republicans, House Democrats, Senate Republicans, Senate Democrats, and the administration so we can enact a spending agreement that actually makes life better for the American people, addresses the cost of living crisis that Donald Trump is inflicting on everyday Americans, healthcare premiums about to skyrocket, housing costs totally out of control, electricity bills have been skyrocketing, grocery prices remain high. We just need to sit down and have a bipartisan negotiation in order to make life better for the American people and address the Republican health care crisis that is devastating people. Working class America, rural America, urban America, small town America, the heartland of America, and black and brown communities throughout America. This is an all hands on deck moment. And House and Senate Democrats have been completely aligned, and Senate Democrats continue to hold the line in a strong and principled way on behalf of the American people.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries from New York, we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you. Sarah?